Hey there, this is my first voiceover type video, so sorry if some things are everywhere, and the video isn't really related to what I am talking. It's just a nice sculpt I did of Punisher from Marvel Rivals. But if you just want to listen to the video, feel free to do so. As the title suggests, I will be talking about the essentials of sculpting. They're more like pillars that you need to master to learn sculpting. These pillars also apply to drawing, mostly drawing focused on people, I guess organic things, but it's focused, or the idea is focused on sculpting, 3D sculpting. These three pillars I'm going to talk about are ordered in their straightforwardness, both as a concept and as a practice. The first pillar is the software proficiency, or tool proficiency, how familiar you are with the tools you use, in the 3D sculpting sense, brushes, software, basically your workspace. I think this is pretty straightforward, as you can learn an app, learn the brushes, their features, and while it may take some time to learn, could probably get familiar to most of it through practice. But still, you should always strive to be better at using the tools. This will probably be the first challenge that you encounter when starting to sculpt or draw. Before you start drawing a head, first you just learn how to draw. Draw lines, circles, and I don't know what else. Moving on to the next pillar or area, we have anatomy. Now I should mention that I am talking about sculpting of organic things, but it could apply to non-organic things, if you could call that anatomy of non-organic things. Learning how certain things look, how they fit within the bigger object, to sort of create chemistry within the object. Sort of learning how to mimic the objects that you want to create, while learning the software or the tools that you are using requires to learn what tools, how to use those, and so on. You can probably learn this just by practicing over time. Anatomy has to be studied. I guess you could call the other thing studying too. But I mean, you have to actively recall anatomy principles, like big is the eye, how should the nose go. Not exactly like that, but you have to create an image of the flow of the objects, of the character or thing, which I believe is way more vague than learning how to stroke a brush. That's not how you say it. How to create a brush stroke. You probably won't get the hang of certain parts unless or after a lot of practice, and not just practice but more intentional practice. That's sort of anatomy. And now the last and probably the most unstraightforward area is working with or from references. Now some might say that this is very tied to anatomy, but this is so specific, I guess. It would be better to put it on its own area. Something else learning the form of a certain body part, and something else recreating a body part of a certain character. Things like likeness, perspective, things that you can only learn through mostly practice. You can't really learn the theory of working from references. You can only do the working from references. And it doesn't mean that you have to copy the look of something, but you have to copy the feeling, the vibe of something. That is the concept of working from concepts. You can create a character or object thingy from someone else's concept, but with your own unique style. But you as the viewer, you know who that character is. And sort of learning this comes mainly from practice. That's why I've put it in the most vague or least straightforward thing out of these three pillars. Yeah, that's it, I think. I'll just go through some resources or ways you can learn about these three. For the tool proficiency side, you can probably just look up a tutorial of the certain thing you're using. If you are into Blender, you can do the donut tutorial. It's probably the best thing to just get everything about Blender in. But there's tons, short, long, more in depth if you want to go. A few tutorials, maybe one tutorial, and some hours in an app or medium probably be fine. As for anatomy, there is a huge ton of resources. You have tutorials, books, 3D scans, other artists' work. You can go on ArtStation and just search anatomy, and you'll be just bombarded with tutorials and artists' work, anything you need to actually learn. You should check or sort of see if their art is within the correct anatomy standards. I don't know what to call it, but basically the anatomy is mostly correct, so you don't learn incorrect anatomy. Anatomy for sculptors is like a standard. Proko is also amazing. Yeah, there's a ton of resources. For the last thing, you just have to work from references. Find some art you like. It looks good because the concept actually has to be good, but in the sense that you can distinguish the different parts, I guess. At least as a more beginner, you should look for concepts that are more defined, which sort of heighten the characteristics. But as you get more advanced, you can pick more complex concepts and have a go at it. Yeah, that's about it for real now. If you have any suggestions, please leave them below. If you enjoyed, like and possibly subscribe. Thank you for watching.